The hexagonal chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with the subtle energy of 1,000 years of interstellar diplomacy. Ambassador Elena Reyes of Earth shifted uncomfortably in her seat. A simple metal chair that seemed deliberately designed to keep humans alert and slightly off balance. All around her, representatives of the ancient spacefaring species lounged in customized accommodations that perfectly suited their unique physiologies. 50 standard years since humanity had achieved faster than light travel. 50 years since they'd been grudgingly welcomed into the galactic community. And still, Earth remained without a single significant alliance. Their petitions for technological exchange consistently tabled. Their offers of trade partnerships politely declined. Elena suppressed a sigh as she glanced around the chamber. The Corvins, with their iridescent plumage and piercing eyes, clustered together in their elevated perches. The ethereal ethereals hovered in their containment fields, their translucent bodies pulsing with colors that represented emotions humans couldn't even perceive. The builders, insectoid and precise, clicked their mandibles in coded communication while reviewing holographic data streams. And the Zephyrians, reptilian and contemplative, reclined on heated platforms, their scaled skin shimmering under the artificial light. "The Council recognizes the Earthen delegation," announced Speaker Vexthala, the ancient Zephyrian whose voice carried the weight of centuries. His elongated face remained impassive, but Elena detected the slight flick of his tail that betrayed his impatience. "You may present your petition for consideration." Elena rose, straightening the crisp lines of her diplomatic uniform, midnight blue with the single silver stripe that marked Earth's junior status. "Honorable Speaker, esteemed Council members, Earth again requests consideration for participation in the Proxima Centauri terraforming initiative. Our scientists have developed a new approach to atmospheric modification that is based on technologies we mastered millennia ago," interrupted Admiral Grixto, the military leader of the Corvin Imperium. His feathers ruffled with barely concealed disdain. "Humans continuously overestimate the value of their contributions." "Admiral," Elena kept her voice measured, "we do not claim to have invented new principles of terraforming. Rather, we've found a more efficient application that reduces the process time by 17%. Elder whisper of the ethereals shifted, their form rippling with gentle blue pulses. "The Earthen delegate speaks truthfully," they said, their voice a harmonious blend of multiple tones. "However, efficiency is not always the priority. Our methods ensure ecological balance through gradual adaptation." "And yet," Elena pressed on, "when 17 worlds await terraforming, reducing each project timeline could mean habitable planets for millions of refugees from the Andromeda expansion." The chamber filled with murmurs, some supportive, most dismissive. Elena knew the pattern well. Humanity's suggestions would be taken under advisement, then quietly archived. Meanwhile, Earth's colonies would continue struggling for resources, while ancient species controlled the prime territories and trade routes. Dr. Kai Novak, the builder representative, clicked a complex sequence before speaking through his translator. "The Council acknowledges Earth's enthusiasm. Perhaps in another century, when your species has demonstrated consistent stability, greater cooperation will be possible." Another century. Always another delay. Another test. Another reason to keep humanity at arm's length. Elena forced a diplomatic smile. "Earth appreciates the Council's consideration." She returned to her seat as the session moved to other matters. Her aide, Liam Torrance, leaned over. "Same story, different day," he whispered. "At least they didn't outright reject us this time." "Small victories," Elena murmured back, reviewing her notes for the next item on the agenda. A routine trade dispute between the ethereal colonies and the Corvin mining operations. Nothing that directly affected Earth's interests. But she needed to demonstrate attentiveness. Junior species were expected to learn from observing the elders' wisdom. Speaker Vexthala was just beginning to introduce the dispute when the chamber's lighting shifted abruptly to deep crimson. A piercing tone cut through the ambient noise, and holographic warning symbols materialized at each delegate station. "Security breach," Vexthala announced, his normally languid manner giving way to sharp alertness. "Council is suspended pending emergency verification." Elena's terminal illuminated with the incoming alert. The translation matrix worked swiftly, converting the multilingual emergency codes into standardized galactic common. Alert classification: Omega Prime Threat. Designation: Nebula Wraith. Location: Kepler Periphery. Casualties: Total status: Advancing. The chamber erupted in controlled chaos. The Corvin's plumage stood on end. The ethereals pulsed with alarming red and violet patterns, and the builders' clicking reached a frenzied pitch that overwhelmed their translation systems. "Order!" Vexthala commanded, striking his ceremonial staff against the floor. "Security Council representatives will remain. All others, evacuate to designated safe zones." Elena caught Liam's eye. As a junior species, Earth had no seat on the Security Council. They were expected to follow evacuation protocols. "Ambassador," Liam started, already rising. "No," Elena said firmly. Article 7, Provision 3 of the Accession Treaty. During Omega-level threats, all species with interstellar capability may observe security deliberations, though without voting rights. Liam looked skeptical. "They'll just override." "They need unanimity to override, and the ethereals always support procedural rights." Elena straightened her uniform. "We stay." As the chamber cleared of non-essential personnel, the central holographic display activated, revealing a three-dimensional map of the Kepler periphery, a cluster of recently settled systems at the edge of Council space. 3 planets glowed an ominous red. Admiral Grixto took control of the briefing. 17 hours ago, all communications ceased from Kepler 438b. 12 hours ago, the same occurred at Kepler 442b. 5 hours ago, Kepler 452b went dark. Reconnaissance drones show complete planetary devastation. No survivors. The display zoomed in, showing orbital footage of a once verdant world, now shrouded in swirling darkness. Atmospheric readings scrolled alongside, indicating catastrophic changes to composition and temperature. "What are we facing?" Elder Whisper asked, their form now completely still, a sign of extreme distress among the ethereals. "The pattern matches historical records of the Nebula Wraith," Dr. Novak stated, mandibles clicking solemnly. "A self-evolving weapons system thought destroyed in the terminal conflict." Elena suppressed a shudder. The terminal conflict, a war so devastating that most species refused to even discuss it, having occurred long before humanity reached the stars. "Impossible!" Grixto snapped. "The Wraith technology was completely eradicated. My ancestors personally oversaw the purge." "Evidently not," Vexthala said dryly. "The energy signature is unmistakable. We face a regenerated Nebula Wraith, and it appears to be progressing along the Kepler chain toward the core systems." Elder Whisper pulsed with concern. "The Wraith shows intelligence. It's targeting colonies in sequence of their vulnerability, not proximity. It's learning." "Then we must act immediately," Grixto declared. "The Corvin battle fleet can deploy within 6 hours with planet-killer weaponry." "And risk spreading the contamination," Dr. Novak objected. "The historical records are clear. Conventional attacks only accelerated the Wraith's evolution." "What do the builders propose then?" Grixto challenged. "Another containment shell? The last one failed after only 3 centuries." As the ancient species fell into familiar patterns of debate, Elena noted something on her display that the others had apparently overlooked. The trajectory projections for the Wraith's advance included a small, unmarked system, Proxima Centauri, Earth's first extrasolar colony. She activated her comm discreetly. Direct line to Earth Command, Priority Alpha, Encryption Protocol Olympus. While the council debated, a separate window opened on her display, revealing the stern face of General Diana Reyes, her mother, and the current head of Earth's Unified Defense Command. "Elena," Diana acknowledged, her expression revealing nothing of their relationship. "The council has notified us." "They're deadlocked," Elena reported quietly. "Corvins want to attack. Ethereals want to negotiate. Builders want a containment field, and Zephyrians want to study it first. Meanwhile, projections show Proxima Centauri in the path." Diana's eyes narrowed. "Time estimate?" "At current speed, 36 hours. But it's accelerating with each system it consumes." A moment of silence passed between them, mother and daughter, general and ambassador, both thinking of the 12 million human colonists on Proxima Centauri b. "Implement protocol lockdown," Diana said finally, her voice firm. "Full authorization. The moon base is ready." Elena felt her heart rate accelerate. "The council hasn't approved." "And they won't in time." Diana cut her off. "You have your orders, Ambassador. Earth Command out." The communication window closed, leaving Elena staring at the ongoing debate among the ancient species. Protocol lockdown, Earth's last resort defensive measure, developed in secret over the past decade. Untested on this scale. Unauthorized by the Council. Potentially in violation of multiple treaties. And their only hope of saving Proxima Centauri. Elena nodded slightly to Liam, who immediately understood. He discreetly activated his own encrypted channel, relaying coded instructions to Earth's hidden assets throughout Council space. On Earth's moon, in a facility officially designated as a research station, but actually housing humanity's most advanced military installation, Colonel Marcus Flynn received the authorization code. He stared at it for precisely 3 seconds before turning to his command staff. "Iron Hedge is a go," he announced. "Initiate deployment sequence. All units." Throughout the lunar base, specialized teams moved with practiced efficiency. Hangar doors opened to reveal sleek vessels unlike any in Earth's public fleet, ships designed for a single purpose. Flynn moved to the central command platform where a 3-dimensional display showed the position of every Iron Hedge unit in the Sol system and beyond. "Status report," he ordered. Major Lena Santos, his second-in-command, stepped forward. "All 47 vessels reporting ready, sir. Deployment pattern Epsilon. Subspace dampeners charged at maximum capacity." Flynn nodded. "Commence Operation Lockdown." Across the solar system, hidden facilities activated, from Mars to the Jovian moons, from the Kuiper Belt to secretly established positions throughout neighboring systems. Humanity's contingency plan sprang to life. Back in the council chamber, the debate had evolved into a structured presentation of options. Admiral Grixto was outlining the Corvin battle plan with characteristic aggression. 3 carrier groups will converge here. He indicated a point ahead of the Wraith's projected path. "We'll deploy a cascading antimatter barrage that will disrupt its energy pattern before it can adapt. The historical data suggests a 78% probability of failure," Dr. Novak countered, "and a 63% chance of accelerating the Wraith's evolution." "The Ethereals propose attempting communication," Elder Whisper interjected. "The Wraith displays intelligence. Intelligence can be reasoned with." "It has destroyed 3 worlds without provocation," Grixto snapped. "What diplomatic overture do you suggest? Please stop consuming our planets?" Elena watched as her display silently tracked the activation of Earth's secret network. Green indicators appeared throughout the map, each representing a lockdown node coming online. Soon, the entire region between the advancing Wraith and the core systems was invisibly threaded with humanity's defensive web. "The Council must reach consensus," Vexthala stated firmly. "We cannot act without unified purpose against such a threat." "While we debate," Elena said, speaking for the first time since the emergency session began, "the Wraith advances. Proxima Centauri will be reached in less than 30 hours. Grixto, made a dismissive gesture. A small colony on the periphery. Regrettable. But strategic considerations must prioritize the core systems. Elena felt a cold anger settle in her chest. 12 million souls. Human souls. The loss of life is unfortunate, Elder Whisper acknowledged, pulsing with genuine sympathy. But the ethereal consensus requires more data before we can support military action. Elena rose from her seat. Speaker Vexthala, Earth requests emergency speaking privileges. The ancient Zephyrian regarded her with surprise. Junior species rarely spoke during security deliberations. Granted, Ambassador Reyes. Though I remind you that Earth holds no vote in this matter. I require no vote, Elena said, her voice carrying a new authority that caused several council members to take notice. I am informing the Council that Earth is implementing defensive measures to protect Proxima Centauri and all systems beyond. Grixto's plumage bristled. Earth has no defensive capability against a nebula wraith. Your technology is centuries behind. Perhaps, Elena conceded. But, while the ancient species developed increasingly sophisticated weapons, we focused on a different approach. She activated the central display, showing the network that now surrounded the advancing threat. Operation Lockdown is now in effect. We've established a subspace dampening field throughout the region. No vessel or energy pattern can travel faster than light within the containment zone. The chamber erupted in outrage. This is a violation of Council law, Grixto thundered. You've restricted movement in sovereign space. You've trapped civilian vessels, Dr. Novak added, mandibles clicking rapidly. And isolated the Wraith, Elena countered. It can no longer jump between systems. It must travel at sublight speeds, giving us time to develop a proper response. Vexthala's eyes narrowed. Deactivate the system immediately. Ambassador, Earth has no authority. Earth has every authority to defend its colonies. Elena interrupted. Article 12 of the Accession Treaty. Member species retain autonomous defensive rights when Council consensus cannot be achieved in matters of imminent existential threat. This affects all species, Grixto protested. Indeed, Elena agreed. And we apologize for the inconvenience to interstellar traffic. But the alternative was watching another world die while the Council debated. Her display pinged with an update. Colonel Flynn reports the Nebula Wraith has encountered the dampening field. Its advance has slowed to sublight speed as expected. Current estimate gives us 2 years before it reaches the next inhabited system. Plenty of time for the Council to agree on a permanent solution. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Earth, the junior species, had unilaterally implemented a defensive measure that the ancient civilizations hadn't even considered. How extensive is this lockdown? Elder Whisper asked finally. The dampening field extends in a sphere encompassing the affected region. Elena explained. Our vessels can adjust the parameters as needed. We've also dispatched specialized teams to extract stranded civilians and essential resources. You've been developing this in secret, Vexthala observed, his tail now perfectly still, a sign of intense focus. For how long? Since our admission to the Council, Elena replied honestly. When we realized our defensive concerns were consistently tabled for later consideration, the technology required. Dr. Novak's mandibles clicked in what Elena had learned to recognize as scientific curiosity. How did humans achieve stable subspace dampening without access to Tier 2 energy sources? Elena allowed herself a small smile. Innovation born of necessity, Doctor. When denied access to established solutions, we created our own. The conversation was interrupted as a new alert flashed across the displays. The Nebula Wraith had changed course. It was now heading directly toward the nearest dampening field generator. It's detected the source of the interference, Grixto observed. Intelligent adaptation, as predicted. Elena nodded to Liam, who relayed new commands through their secure channel. Iron Hedge units are repositioning to reinforce the threatened sector. Your small fleet cannot withstand direct contact with the Wraith, Vexthala warned. They don't need to engage, Elena explained. Only maintain the integrity of the dampening field. If the Wraith attempts to accelerate, the field increases in strength proportionally. The display updated, showing the Iron Hedge vessels forming a new pattern around the advancing threat. Each ship maintained precise position, creating a net of overlapping fields. A tactical containment formation, Grixto observed with reluctant admiration. Effective, if the technology works as you claim. The chamber's attention remained fixed on the tactical display as the Nebula Wraith, visualized as a swirling mass of dark energy, tested the boundaries of its confinement. It pushed against the dampening field, only to be met with increased resistance. It's learning the parameters of its prison, Dr. Novak noted, gathering data for potential countermeasures. As are we, Elena responded. Every interaction provides our scientists with more information about the Wraith's composition and capabilities. For several tense minutes, the Council watched as humanity's defensive system adapted to the Wraith's probing attacks. The Iron Hedge vessels adjusted their positions continuously, maintaining the integrity of the containment field, despite the Wraith's increasingly sophisticated attempts to breach it. Remarkable, Elder Whisper conceded, their form pulsing with thoughtful purples and blues. The humans have created an adaptive defense network that mimics the Wraith's own evolutionary capabilities. Not mimics, Elena corrected gently. Anticipates. Our system was designed specifically to counter self-evolving threats by predicting adaptation patterns and deploying countermeasures before the threat can implement them. A new alert sounded, more urgent than before. The tactical display zoomed out, revealing a disturbing development. The Nebula Wraith had split into multiple fragments, each heading toward different points in the containment field. Divide and conquer, Grixto growled. A basic military strategy. Your containment will fail. Elena felt a moment of doubt as she watched the Wraith fragments disperse. The Iron Hedge units scrambled to adjust their formation, stretching the dampening field thinner to cover the expanding threat. Ambassador, Liam whispered urgently. Colonel Flynn reports the field integrity dropping below optimal levels. They can compensate temporarily, but not indefinitely. Elena made a swift decision. Tell Flynn to implement Phase 2. On her private display, she watched as new vessels emerged from concealed positions throughout the containment zone, larger than the standard Iron Hedge units. These ships had remained hidden, even from the Council's awareness. Earth's true last resort. What are those? Vexthala demanded, as the new vessels appeared on the main tactical display. Nemesis-class interdictors, Elena explained. Specialized craft designed to generate focused, dampening fields and, if necessary, neutralize threats directly. The Nemesis vessels moved with startling speed, each targeting a Wraith fragment. Instead of maintaining distance like the Iron Hedge units, they closed in, enveloping each fragment in intensified dampening fields. Direct engagement is suicide, Grixto warned. The Wraith will consume your ships and adapt to your technology. Not these ships, Elena responded, keeping her voice steady despite her growing concern. Each Nemesis carried a volunteer crew, Earth's finest, who understood the risks they faced. They're equipped with quantum isolation protocols. If breached, they'll collapse into artificial singularities, taking the Wraith fragments with them. Horror spread through the Council chamber. You've weaponized black holes? Elder Whisper's form fluctuated chaotically. This violates the Cosmological Preservation Treaty. Article 9, Exception 3, Elena countered. Existential threats warrant proportional response. The chamber fell silent as they watched the deadly dance unfold. The Nemesis vessels tightened their containment fields around the Wraith fragments, forcing them to reconsolidate or risk being isolated individually. Slowly, inexorably, the fragments began to merge again, condensing back into a single entity as the dampening field constrained their options. The iron hedge network adjusted, strengthening the field where needed, directing the Wraith's movement into a predetermined containment zone. Containment at 93% and stabilizing, Elena reported, relief evident in her voice. The Wraith is being herded towards Sector 47, an uninhabited region where we've prepared specialized long-term containment facilities. All this, Vexthala observed, prepared in secret while you petitioned for technology and alliances. Not in secret, Elena corrected. In plain sight. Every petition we submitted included technical specifications that, taken together, revealed aspects of our defensive strategy. We hoped some council member would notice and recognize our potential contribution. A test, Dr. Novak realized, mandibles clicking in what Elena recognized as amusement. You were testing whether any of us would actually study your proposals in detail. And we failed, Elder Whisper acknowledged, their form settling into a thoughtful blue hue. We dismissed your contributions without proper evaluation. A new alert interrupted the moment of reflection. The tactical display shifted focus to Nexus Prime Station, the very facility housing the council chamber. Multiple energy signatures were approaching rapidly. Wraith fragments. Grixto identified immediately. They must have separated before the containment was established. They're targeting the council directly. Panic threatened to overtake the chamber as the implications became clear. Nexus Prime Station housed not only the Galactic Council, but also the combined knowledge repositories of all member species, the accumulated wisdom of millions of years of civilization. Defensive systems engaging, Vexthala announced, activating the station's ancient protections. Force fields shimmered into existence around the massive structure, and weapon platforms emerged from concealed positions. Elena's display pinged with an urgent message from Colonel Flynn. Nemesis Prime ready for deployment, awaiting authorization. She hesitated only briefly. Deploy Nemesis Prime. Priority target, Nexus Station Protection. On the main tactical display, a new vessel appeared, larger than the other Nemesis ships, its design clearly incorporating elements from multiple species technologies. It moved with impossible speed, positioning itself between the approaching Wraith fragments and Nexus Prime Station. What is that? Vexthala demanded. Nemesis Prime, Elena explained. Our prototype vessel, incorporating technology adapted from all Council species. It's been in development since our first contact. Impossible, Dr. Novak objected. You don't have access to our advanced technologies. We studied everything available in public records, Elena said, and extrapolated the rest. It's not as sophisticated as your vessels, but it incorporates principles from all your defensive systems, making it uniquely suited to counter threats that might overcome any single approach. The Council watched in astonishment as Nemesis Prime engaged the Wraith fragments. Instead of deploying a dampening field, it projected a complex energy pattern that seemed to confuse the fragments, causing them to alter course erratically. Mimetic interference, Dr. Novak observed with clear surprise. It's presenting false targets that match the Wraith's own signature. Leading them away from the station, Grixto added, professional appreciation evident in his tone. A classic diversion tactic, executed with unexpected sophistication. Elena received another update from Flynn. Diversion successful, preparing to reintegrate fragments with main containment field. Who commands that vessel? Elder Whisper asked. Elena straightened her shoulders. I do. Or rather, the command systems are calibrated to my neural patterns. Colonel Flynn is currently executing my pre-programmed defensive protocols. The Nemesis Prime continued its intricate dance with the Wraith fragments, gradually leading them away from Nexus Prime and toward the main containment field where the consolidated Wraith entity remained trapped. We should consolidate our defenses, Elena suggested. The station's protective systems combined with Nemesis Prime's capabilities would provide optimal security. After a moment of silent communication among the council members, Vexthala nodded. Nexus Defensive Control. Authorize integration with Earth Vessel Designation Nemesis Prime. Security Protocol Override Vexthala Omega-7. The station's systems acknowledged the command, and Elena watched as Nemesis Prime established a secure connection with Nexus Prime's defenses. The combined protective field expanded, encompassing both the station and a wide perimeter around it. Adaptive reconfiguration complete, reported the station's AI. Defense efficiency increased by 34%. The Wraith fragments, now caught between the expanding defensive field and the main containment zone, attempted to scatter in multiple directions. But the combined Earth Council defense system anticipated each move, adjusting in real time to herd the fragments back toward the main entity. "They're being forced to rejoin," Grixto observed. "Clever strategy." As the fragments merged back with the main Wraith entity, the Iron Hedge network tightened around it, strengthening the dampening field to prevent further division attempts. "Containment at 97% and holding," Elena reported. "The Wraith is secure." A collective sense of relief spread through the council chamber. The immediate threat had been neutralized, though the Wraith remained a problem to be solved permanently. "Ambassador Reyes," Vexthala addressed Elena formally. "The Council acknowledges Earth's decisive action in this crisis. Your Operation Lockdown has prevented catastrophic loss of life and given us time to develop a permanent solution. Earth is pleased to contribute to galactic security," Elena responded diplomatically, though she couldn't entirely suppress a hint of satisfaction. "We hope this demonstrates our commitment to the Council and our potential value as full partners." "It demonstrates considerably more than that," Elder Whisper observed, their form now pulsing with thoughtful green hues. "It reveals that humans possess capabilities we had not anticipated, and that our dismissal of your species was premature. The Council will need to reevaluate Earth's status," Dr. Novak added, mandibles clicking in a pattern Elena couldn't interpret, "particularly regarding technology exchange and defensive cooperation." "Indeed," Vexthala agreed. "But first, we must address the immediate situation. The Wraith remains contained, but not neutralized. We require a permanent solution." "Earth has proposals ready," Elena offered. "We've been researching the historical records of the terminal conflict since our admission to the Council. Our scientists believe the Wraith can be permanently neutralized through a combination of technologies, some from each Council species." "Cooperation," Elder Whisper noted. "Rather fitting, considering the circumstances." "Earth offers Nemesis Prime as a development platform," Elena continued. "Its adaptive systems can integrate technologies from all Council species without the usual compatibility issues." "A joint project," Vexthala considered. "It has been some time since the Council engaged in truly collaborative development." "Too long," Elena suggested gently. "Perhaps that's why the Wraith caught us unprepared. We've been maintaining separate defensive doctrines, rather than combining our strengths." The Council members exchanged meaningful glances. Centuries of political maneuvering and carefully guarded technological advantages suddenly called into question by the humans' simple observation. "The Security Council will convene a special session to consider this proposal," Vexthala announced. "And, in light of Earth's demonstrated capabilities, I move that Ambassador Reyes be granted temporary Security Council status for the duration of the Wraith crisis." A murmur of agreement spread through the chamber. Admiral Grixto's plumage settled into a more neutral position, as close to approval as the militant Corvin was likely to display. Dr. Novak's mandibles clicked in a pattern that Elena recognized as affirmative. Elder Whisper pulsed with harmonious blues and greens. "Motion carried," Vexthala declared. "Ambassador Reyes, the Council acknowledges Earth's strategic importance and welcomes your full participation in resolving this crisis." Elena inclined her head respectfully. "Earth is honored to serve alongside the ancient species." As the formal session concluded, and the Council members began discussing technical details of the joint response, Liam approached Elena's position. "Congratulations," Ambassador, he said quietly, you've accomplished in one day what our diplomatic corps couldn't achieve in 50 years. Not me, Elena corrected. Earth, all of us, working together. Operation Lockdown represented the combined efforts of thousands of our best minds. Still, Liam pressed, it was your decision to activate it without council approval. That took courage. Elena glanced at the tactical display, where the contained wraith still swirled in frustrated patterns within its prison of human ingenuity. It took desperation and a willingness to act when debate would not suffice. Her communication panel chimed with an incoming message from Earth Command. General Diana Reyes appeared once more. Her expression carefully neutral, though Elena could detect the pride in her mother's eyes. Ambassador, Diana acknowledged formally. The President extends congratulations on your successful containment operation and your appointment to the Security Council. Thank you, General, Elena responded, maintaining the professional distance required by their respective positions. Please inform the President that Earth's technology has been well received. The Council is initiating a joint development project based on our Nemesis platform. Excellent progress. Diana's expression softened slightly. Your father would have been proud. Elena felt a momentary tightness in her throat. Admiral Thomas Reyes had commanded Earth's first interstellar mission, establishing contact with the Council 50 years earlier. He had not lived to see humanity take its place among the stars. He always said we'd earn our place eventually, Elena replied softly. And so we have. Diana's posture straightened again. Earth Command out. As the communication ended, Elena turned to find Speaker Vexthala approaching her position. The ancient Zephyrian moved with deliberate grace, his scaled skin catching the light as he inclined his head in a gesture of respect rarely offered to junior species. Ambassador Reyes, he began, the Council has existed for millennia. In that time, we have developed certain patterns of thought, certain assumptions about the nature of power and the development of species. Understandable, Elena responded diplomatically. Experience shapes perception. Indeed. Vexthala's ancient eyes studied her with new interest. And today, our perception of humanity has been significantly reshaped. You acted when we deliberated. You implemented when we theorized. You protected when we analyzed. Different approaches have different strengths, Elena suggested. Perhaps that's why diversity of species strengthens the Council. Perhaps. The ancient Zephyrian seemed to consider this. There is a phrase I observed in your historical records, during my preparation for Earth's admission to the Council. When faced with insurmountable challenges, humans sometimes declare, fine, I'll handle it myself. Elena couldn't suppress a smile. An expression of determination, yes, often born of frustration with collective inaction. I begin to understand its significance, Vexthala mused. And I suspect that when humans make such declarations, the galaxy would be wise to take notice. Or perhaps, Elena suggested, to offer assistance before such declarations become necessary. Vexthala's scales rippled in what Elena had learned to recognize as amusement. Indeed, Ambassador, a lesson the Council has now learned quite thoroughly. He gestured toward the central chamber, where the other Council members were already deeply engaged in technical discussions about the Joint Wraith Neutralization Project. Shall we join the others? I believe humanity's perspective will be essential to our success. As Elena followed the ancient diplomat, she reflected on the irony of the situation. For 50 years, humanity had sought recognition, partnership, and respect from the galactic community. They had petitioned and proposed, demonstrated and debated, all to limited effect. In the end, it wasn't humanity's words that earned their place among the stars. It was their willingness to act decisively when action was required, to protect not only themselves, but all sentient life. To say, in effect, "Fine, I'll handle it," and then to do exactly that. The galaxy had learned an important lesson today. When humans make that declaration, it's not a surrender to isolation. It's a promise of determination. And sometimes, that's exactly what the universe needs. As the nebula wraith remained contained within humanity's improvised prison, the ancient species of the Galactic Council began to glimpse the true potential of their newest member. Not because humans possessed superior technology or greater wisdom, but because they approached problems with a unique perspective, one born of their brief but intense history of overcoming existential challenges through innovation and decisive action. In the days that followed, Operation Lockdown would be studied by strategists of all species. The Nemesis platform would become the foundation for a new era of collaborative defense technology, and humanity would take its rightful place as a full partner in galactic civilization, not as supplicants seeking admission, but as equals who had proven their worth when it mattered most. And throughout the known universe, a new saying would begin to circulate among diplomats and military leaders alike. When humans say, "Fine, I'll handle it," the galaxy locks down.